Just paying incorrect fee amount, which is very non-intuitive, can screw up your application and can hamper your chances to ever get a postgraduate work permit in the future. Postgraduate work permit application: if you are currently out of status in Canada, if your study permit has expired, how can you go about applying your postgraduate work permit and restoring your status? This video, we are going to talk about this. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Dhruv. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and at our firm Effizient, we assist all prospective immigrants with their immigration to Canada. If you need assistance, if you have questions, you want help with your application, you have some peculiar case-specific questions, here is our contact information. Feel free to contact us, call us, email us, WhatsApp us. We would be happy to chat with you. We would be happy to assist you. Postgraduate work permit application when your study permit expires is very important. You need to be very careful when applying for this application, and there is a nuance. If you are not paying the correct fee when applying for the restoration and PGWP after your study permit has already expired, your application can get refused and you may run out of time to apply for another application for PGWP, and all your education, all the time you've spent may get wasted. So this is very important, so watch this video till the end. Just paying incorrect fee amount, which is very non-intuitive, can screw up your application and can hamper your chances to ever get a postgraduate work permit in the future. Before we continue with the topic of the video with regards to PGWP and restoration, let's answer the comment of the week. This comment comes from Neda, and it's on our video with regards to filling IMM 5669, that is the background declaration form. The question is that for the period between your studies and before you got your postgraduate work permit, so there is a time period after you finish your studies and you have applied for PGWP, but you have not yet received your PGWP. Neda asks what to fill in terms of the status in 5669 when filling the personal history. This is a very good question. So when you have applied for your PGWP, at that point you are under maintained status. You have maintained your status and you have gotten authorizations to work as PGWP applied applicant. Of course, you need to meet the condition with regard to your study permit being valid when you submitted the application. So assuming you had the authorization to work during that period, when filling IMM 5669, you can break that period down, and in the status you can say PGWP maintained or PGWP implied status. That implies that you had applied for PGWP and you were under the authorization to work at that time. I hope this helps. Now, talking about postgraduate work permit. First of all, guys, after you finish your studies, in total you have 180 days to apply for postgraduate work permit. If you do not apply for PGWP within 180 days, the window closes. That's it. You can never apply for postgraduate work permit ever again. This thing is very important as we go forward in this video. We'll come back to this particular fact that you have 180 days. So keep that in mind as I would tell you the importance of making sure that your application goes in properly. The second important point that you need to know is if you are applying for a PGWP from inside Canada, you need to have a valid student status. A valid student status is necessary to apply for PGWP from inside Canada. Now, what is a valid student status? If you have a valid study permit, then you're good to go. You can apply for postgraduate work permit from inside Canada. Now, again, there are some nuances. If you have been out of school for more than 90 days, but your study permit is still valid, you want to check your status, because usually study permits become invalidated after 90 days of no school. So if you have left your studies, it's been more than 90 days, then you want to make sure that your study permit is still valid. So keep that in mind. However, in most cases, say that you finish your studies in April of 2024 and the study permit is expiring in August of 2024. So you are within that 90-day window and your permit is still valid. So you are good to go with regards to applying for the postgraduate work permit. Now the problem arises in cases where sometimes the study permit expires due to an early expiry, due to passport expiry, and the student is not able to submit an application for postgraduate work permit in time. As an example, say that your studies ended on May 15, 2024 and your study permit expired on May 30th, 2024. Now you weren't able to completely submit an application for postgraduate work permit before your study permit expired, and now your study permit has expired, you are out of status, and you are willing to apply for postgraduate work permit. What can be done in this scenario? Now, of course, if you are out of status, you need to do two things. One is you need to restore your status, and the second is you need to apply for an application, for example, for work permit in this case. Now, the restoration of status is where we need to be a little more careful. Now, as I said before, if you're applying from inside Canada, you need to have a valid student status before you are eligible to apply for work permit, for PGWP specifically. So, if you are inside Canada and you're applying for PGWP and your study permit has expired, first you need to bring yourself back to a valid student status. So you need to restore your status to that of a student, and then you will ask for a PGWP. Now, first bringing yourself back into the student status, restoring your status to a student, and then applying for PGWP. This is very complicated. This sounds complicated. Do you have to do two applications? Do you need to apply for study permit again? On what basis? You don't even have an acceptance letter, and then you need to apply for a work permit. I know this can be confusing, so let's make it very simple. IRCC needs you to restore your status to a student. However, they don't want you to apply for a study permit. They just want you to pay the fee for a study permit. So what that means is you are going to apply for your PGWP. You're just submitting one application, and that application is to obtain a PGWP along with the supporting documents, as you would do in a usual PGWP application. The only nuance is that you are going to say that you want to restore your status to a student, and you will pay the appropriate fee. That fee is $229 for restoration of status and $150 for your study permit. So you'll pay $379 towards restoration, and then you will pay $255 towards your PGWP application. So in the application package, it would be the PGWP package, and there will be a fee receipt for $379 that would be applied towards restoring your status to a student. And then after the officer restores your status to a student, they will then go ahead and assess your PGWP. Now again, it's important to note you don't need a separate application for a study permit in this scenario. Now guys, if this is not done properly, the application will go under process, and say if it takes 2-3 months for the application to get processed and then you get refused, you may be in a position where you are out of the restoration window, and you may also be in a position where 180 days have already elapsed since you finished your studies. Okay, so now you had already applied for PGWP, but it got refused, but it was too late. Either you were out of restoration window or 180 days have already elapsed. Now coming back to the 180-day window, if 180 days have already elapsed since you graduated, you cannot do any other application for PGWP. That is it. Now you will not be able to get a PGWP based on this study program. On the other hand, if 90 days of restoration window is over and you got a decision that your application was refused, then also you are in a bad position, because now you cannot restore your status inside Canada anymore. You'll have to go out of Canada, and if you are still within the 180-day window from the finishing of your studies, you can apply for a PGWP from outside Canada. In this case, it's just a simple PGWP open work permit application. You don't need to pay any restoration or nothing like that if you're applying from outside Canada. So in summary guys, we have talked about postgraduate work permit and the timelines associated with it with regards to the deadlines. We've talked about how you can apply for restoration and PGWP and how to pay the correct fee. Make sure you make the payment to restore your status as a student and for the open work permit application separately. And we have talked about why it's very important that you complete your applications properly, because if the deadlines are missed, then you can get into a bad position. If you need assistance with this kind of application, with restoring your status and applying for PGWP, you can always get in touch with us. Again, our contact information is on the screen. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you are notified about any new video that we upload. Again, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.